Good morning, everyone. This is Miss T. I hope everyone is having a great weekend. Getting to do things they need to get done and some fun things. I hope you woke up in good spirits, spent some time with the Lord, and is ready for your day. What I wanted to talk about today is um, our new era, the life that we're living now. Um, Back when I was younger and, further back, there were things that people would be ashamed of. And if they did them, they would keep it quiet, or, it was a family secret, or, something like that. But in this day and age, we're in the age of I'm keeping it real. I'm a real one. Um, I don't, I'm me, and I don't have to prove anything to anybody, or I don't have to be any kind of way. I can do whatever I want. I do what I want. I'm free to do what I want. And so it gets confusing and misconstrued. Yes, you're your own person. You should be able to do what you want to do, but just because you have the freedom to do that, is it always good just to do whatever you want? And no, it's not. Seems like people put morals and values aside for freedom of speech, and just an excuse sometimes just to act act up. Um, we as people, we don't practice the golden rule. We don't do unto others as we would have them do unto us, and that does not mean do what people do to you. That I don't know. I don't know if that's how it got turned around or something. I don't know. What it means is how you would like to be treated is how you should treat someone else. So I don't think there's a lot of people around here who would like to be disrespected, abused, talked about, shunned, or anything like that. So if those things you don't want to go through, don't put anyone else through that. That's just common. That's just common sense. And the world would be, you're nice. You're nice to everybody. Um, well, in a perfect world, which we will never be in, you're nice and everyone will be nice to you. And that does not work. But still, in your mind, you should treat people how you would like to be treated. And that is sometimes very difficult to do, because you can't, sometimes it's hard to treat someone kind when they're unkind to you. But what I suggest is, God did not say for you to hound make this person like you, hound them down, be always get in their face and give them compliments and say hello and all that. That is not what he said. Because actually what you're going to do is cause a reaction. So for instance, since we're on YouTube, what I've learned is, I try to speak to everyone who comes, if I'm in a chat or whatever. That's just courtesy to me. And also, sometimes the panel gets really involved, and they got a good topic and they're talking and they're not really paying attention. So people come in, speak to the panel, speak to the chat, and they don't get a response. And that that, that's not what the people mean to do. They just, you can't see everyone or whatever. So I usually just, that's what I do. But what I don't do is continuously, I'll speak 1, 2, I may stretch it out to 3 times. But after that 3rd time, I know you don't want me to speak to you. So I'm not going to antagonize you in that kind of way, and so I I don't speak to that person. But there's only a few. I have met some really, overall, some very nice people, and get along with everybody. I try to. But sometimes when we use this excuse of keeping it real. So, just, do you keep it real? Are you keeping it real with other people? Do you keep it real with yourself? Or do we use this term to say what we want, to hurt somebody, or to, just to be, or be funny, or have people, whatever it is. But if you keep in mind how you would feel if you're in a group, with a group of people, or you're in a chat, or you're at the family gathering, or at the club, or whatever, and you say something to somebody that is unkind, and everyone around you hears that my dog just lifted his leg. You better not. How would you feel if that was to happen to you? So, because we don't think, there's a perfect example. There's a video that is circulating about a teacher. I think it was a substitute teacher. I can't remember. But he was trying to tell this young lady, who was either not paying attention or disrupting his class, to get it together. And he was kind of in her face talking to her, not, in her face, but, down low, because she's sitting in the desk. And she kept telling him to get out of her face. Now, I don't know why, what he was thinking that day, or what was going on with him. But she finally said, if you don't get out of my face, I'm going to slap you, to the teacher. I don't think he really believed her, but I don't know why he wouldn't. These kids these days they mean what they say. They don't have any chill. It doesn't matter who you are. So long story short, she smacked the fire out of him, and everyone in the room, reacted, because they didn't know what was coming next. Now, it looked like maybe he was going to have restraint or something, because it took really a while for him to react. It kind of went in slow motion. He stood up, and he was talking to her as he stood up. Now, I'm going to give you whatever time to apologize. And she's still running at the mouth. I told you to get out of my face. You shouldn't have been in my face. I said get out of my face. And by the time that he got himself together and rolled up his sleeves, he slapped her so hard that he knocked her out of her desk. Now, I don't know what happened to that man. I'm sure he got disciplined, fired. I don't know. But what we should remember is everybody is not for games. Everybody, it was a woman, a girl, You put your hands on that man, and I think you thought because he was a teacher that he wasn't he couldn't hit you back. I think that's what probably was she was thinking in her mind, and maybe that's true. Maybe they have a policy, if a child hits you, you are to send them to the office or call the resource officer or something like that. But honey, you ran into the wrong teacher on the right day. And he said, forget this job. I understood. I understood how he felt, because sometimes you take so much from, maybe he had been through so much and that was just the last straw for her to do something to like that. But yeah, it was wrong. It was wrong. Um, but I'm sure in his mind it was right. And some people would argue that yes, that's what he should have done, is slapped her back. And I wouldn't argue with anyone. I'm just saying, as as morally as I can, that you don't meet evil for evil. Now, because the repercussions for him would have been way harsher than her. He was a black man. He was a teacher. She was a white girl. And luckily somebody was filming it, but I don't even think they cared about having proof that she slapped him first. They're just going to look at the fact that he was an adult and he was in authority and he didn't act appropriately or whatever they're going to say. I'm going to have to look into that and see what came of that. But that's why I asked, I try not to be in situations that will put me in a position that I don't want to be in. Because God is still working with me. I'm still struggling as a human on this earth full of evil and sin. And so as I'm trying to develop into, what I'm trying to become, a woman of God, I can't put myself in places that will make me, that I know that I will fall or be a stumbling block to someone. And so sometimes when you interact with people, you have to step back for a minute and decide and realize what effect that you're bringing or that you have on people, and especially people if they see that you're different, you're nice, you don't whatever, they're waiting for something, for you to do something, so that they could say, I knew it was all an act, or nobody can be. And you're absolutely, this is a journey that I have been on for a very long time, and some things I've gotten better at, and other things I still need work, and it's a battle constantly every day. I don't like wrongs, injustice. I don't like bullies. I don't like people to make other people hurt, because you know what, people will try to pick the weakest looking, the weakest acting person and put their evil plan out on them. Because a person really can't be on top with someone who's going to stand up and not take it, because now you have to have a back and forth, and that person might get the best of you in your whole, and it's turned around on you. But if you find someone who is really not quiet, just not loud, or just is quiet and has really, nothing bad to say, and you want to be the big man / big woman of the day, and so in order for you to do that, you have to make yourself feel good by putting someone else down, and so you pick on that person, you choose that person. I learned that I have been in, I believe, I don't know, a couple of disagreements with people on YouTube, and none of it had to do, well, one of them had to do with me, but it was always because I was trying to protect or take up for someone else. And that's not, that's my nature, that's my personality, so that's never going to change. What I had to learn is YouTube is different. Like, people come on here for different reasons, and if a person continues to come to YouTube and keeps coming back, even though they know that people take pot shots or say things to them, then it must not bother them that much, because you don't really want to be somewhere where you're going to get get your feelings hurt every day, or get feel bad every day. So I had to learn that maybe on here everyone understands that this is just all fun, even though I don't think it's fun to hurt people, but that people don't take it seriously, or know it's not real, and they just, so that's why I had to step back and say, if I can't, if you're going to be in here and whatever, well, you just can't be in a chat when people are doing these type of things, because like I said, if it was a really big issue, they wouldn't come back. I don't know, that's how God made me. I always had to stand up to bullies and take up for people, and that's why I ask God not to put me in certain places. I pray everywhere I go. If I go to the store, mall, wherever, because you don't know what's going to happen. So you don't know if there's going to be a commotion, a man's beating on his wife or whatever. And the rule, evidently, because we have rules now, is you don't get involved in other people's business. That's his wife, and if that's how he's gonna do her, that you mind your business. But for you to stand and watch or see someone being physically harmed, and you can't, and you just feel nothing, I think that's a bad thing. Some people can feel something, but like I said, the rules are mind your business. That's all, just mind your business. Does anybody know where that came from? But I understand, because it could cause bad things at the end. It could cause you to be harmed or unalived or whatever. So yeah, I have been put in situations in public where I had to make a decision of what I was going to choose to do. And sometimes you do stuff, you react without even thinking. It's but you just have to use your own judgment, your own understanding and knowledge, for what you want to do. I will say that I definitely will not stand by while children are, what it looks like that children are being harmed, or children are being, something's happening in that way. I'm not going to, you just have to be ready for whatever consequences. So I ask not to be put in certain circumstances, because I don't believe that I'm ready to, act accordingly to the word, to, because God is, you're supposed to let him fight all battles, yours, everyone else's. He's the, but sometimes, you just don't, your emotions, or um, your heart, or whatever, gets to you, and you just can't. Also, elderly people, not going to stand by and watch that. But we think it's also in this era of everything goes, anything goes. We don't have to be ashamed of anything, because uh, everything is everything. A woman can have an OnlyFans page and make a lot of money. So when she's called names, I guess she should expect it. That shouldn't be a problem, because that's what you show. That's what you put out in the public. But in this, I'm not ashamed of anything, Error. What I do is what I do. That's me. It's my business. Stay out of my business. You put people in your business, and then you ask them to stay out of it. And I don't know if that's just the tactic. I mean, you have to say that, I guess. If you don't, stay out of my business, even though I tell every part of my business to social media, because no one would know. Nobody would know if you were a in other states wouldn't know if you were a stripper, or a prostitute, or if you were a gangbanger, or if you sold pharmaceuticals, or if you sold yourself. Nobody knows these things on social media unless you tell it, or someone else that tells it. I don't know. But I think the "I'm not ashamed" we use is because some people really aren't ashamed, just straight up. It's called getting their bag, or making their coins, or whatever, because we already know that God says the love of money is the root of all evil. So if some people just, anything they can do to get it is good with them. But some people use that "stay out my business, I'm not ashamed," because they really are. It really does bother them. But in order to save face, they have to say, I'm keeping it real. Because I'm a real person. People try to come and pretend who, I don't fake. I'm, all these different terms that they use to try to justify, why they are not ashamed of something that they are doing. And people really don't judge people in that kind of way anymore. I mean, women, back in the day, if you slept with a lot of people, back in the day, you were a hoe, called a hoe. Men mistreated you, called you names. Or this day and age, it's like, some men, because like again, I don't say all of anything, man, woman, whatever, go for those type of women. They feel that they would have a better time or whatever because this person would probably knows a lot a lot of things to do. And so they're really not put down anymore. They get called names or whatever, but men call women names. You could be a nun and a man can walk up to you and call you a bee. That's just how society is. No respect for nobody has any respect for anything. They don't like you if you're outspoken and strong. They don't like you if you're quiet and meek. They don't like you if you're make a lot of money and have a lot of nice things. They don't like you if you're poor and living on the street. It's just there's no lines. There's no everything is everything. We just women back in the day, they didn't want to be, if a man had a reputation of having a lot of women and stuff, they stayed away from he's a player and blah, 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 and tried not to get involved in that. But nowadays it's like, I don't know if they feel it's a shortage of good men, but a man can tell you he's gonna cheat because that's just what men do. It doesn't have anything to do with you. He still loves you and wants to be with you, but sometimes he wants to venture off. But you don't get to venture off because women aren't supposed to want to venture off from their relationship. So if you do, if a woman does, then that's a horrible thing, and there are repercussions for that. Some women still do have put up a fight if they find out their significant other or whatever is cheating, but really it just is don't ask, don't tell, don't go looking for anything. You're going to find it. Just basically, just like I said, right is right, wrong, and wrong is right. Just everything has switched. It's getting worse. I would hate to be a teenager coming on to your younger years, going to college in this day and age, because it's so different from the old days. That is, and for you to have to live in an era where people still try to have morals and values and care about people's feelings and try to do right and try to be good people, to, as these years have gone by, to see it all just go away and all people are for themselves, and we like to cause pain to somebody else because we're in pain. It is, you just like amazed that this is how it's turning out. Like, I can still remember when people looked after other people's kids. When we were little, the neighborhood, there was always some lady in the neighborhood who told everything to every parent, to everybody, and we was always getting in trouble. And that was fine. Nobody had a problem with that. Now you can't look out for other people's kids because then the parent will, it's not your child, don't worry about it, and don't talk to my child. Just everything is gone haywire because you care about a child and you see them doing something, you're going in the wrong direction, or they could possibly harm themselves or something, and you take a step to stop that. When did that become a bad thing? And I will tell you, you can always tell. Say you have friends, associates, and so, they have kids or whatever, you guys get together. You can always tell how, um, what is being said about you behind your back by the way their children treat you. Because children sit around, listen, and they soak up everything. And so if you're being talked about bad, in their household, when they're around you, they don't feel like they have to, you know, look at you as, um, as a role model, or somebody that they have to listen to, because your mom or dad or whoever talks about you like a dog, when you're not around. What cracks me up is when people think it's so funny to film their kids, and everybody's trying to go viral, and everybody's trying to whatever, so they keep a cam or their phone so they can film, and these kids bust them out. That is the funniest. That is and the child who bust that Northwest, that's Kim Kardashian and Kanye's daughter. She doesn't let her mother get away with anything. But every time she opens her mouth, her daughter has a rebuttal. She said something about somebody sent her Kim a CD of her music, and she said, and I want, thank you, and she likes to listen to the CD. And North just looked at her mom, and she's like, why are you lying? You haven't listened to any song on that CD. I was through. But hey, maybe if kids bust people, I mean, you could keep it real. I mean, I know she didn't want to hurt the woman's feelings, but you didn't have to say anything. You didn't have to, people don't have to. You just have to be conscious. You could have said thank you. Or stop talking about grown-up stuff in front of your children. Or stop talking about grown-up stuff with your children. And then you wouldn't have these issues, these problems, I am not ashamed of anything that I've done. If you have to say that, then maybe you should be ashamed, because what have you done that you have to protest that, I don't care what anybody says, I'm not ashamed of it, even though other people would say something's wrong with it, I'm not so what are you doing that you are not ashamed of? If it's anything that all I can say, if it's anything that goes against the Bible, you need to be ashamed. And why you need to be ashamed is because everything is written in the book of life. And actually, if you're not in the book of life, then there's no chance for you. So if you have the mentality that you're not ashamed of anything that you do, then you already know that whatever you're doing has to be a sin, has to be wrong in God's eyes. Because I don't care what man on earth, the same man on earth that God said is the same sinner as I am, that we're all sinners and fall short, that nobody is greater than anyone. I don't care what you might say or what you might think, but I'm always trying to live my life pleasing the Lord, because he's the only one that counts. And if you're following his laws and you're doing his will, you're going to treat other people accordingly. You don't treat people how they treat you, because that's not a good thing. Everybody doesn't treat you right. You treat people how God would want you to treat them, because that's what he asks of us. He doesn't say be a punching bag. He does not say um, let them tear you down. None of that. If you've done everything you can, or you're the type of person who smiles and says hello when you're seeing somebody in the grocery store, if you're the type of person that helps an elderly woman across the street or gives a homeless person 50 cents, if that's the type of personality you have, that's what God asks, is for you to have that. He doesn't want you to have to make somebody who doesn't like you like you. That's not what he means by being always treat others the way you would. That's not what he means. If that person doesn't like you, there's a reason or non-reason, whatever reason that they have or come up with or say, you don't have to, you can't change their mind about it. So you just continue to, you've done nothing. You've done what God has asked you to do. That's all you can do. Sin doesn't allow some people to have common sense. It doesn't allow some people to have a heart. It doesn't allow some people to care about anything. It allows some people to be the most evil and vile people that you've ever met. And the only way for you to have to notice or to understand, when you first meet somebody, you have to, because we're all, like I said, we're all just fast. Everything's fast, and everybody wants to do speed dating, speed this, fast food, fast. Everything is. Nobody takes the time to sit down and talk or learn somebody or whatever. You could meet somebody 2 days, and then on Monday, and then Friday you guys are in a relationship. You don't even hardly know what that person's middle name is, or what their desires are in life, or their habits, or anything. You just see something and you want it, and you have to make a move. You have to jump really quick, real fast, before they get away. You don't want them to get away. You'll deal with whatever baggage or whatever thing that you don't know about later. You just have to seal the deal that you can't let this person get away, and that it's usually disastrous. I say if a man is not willing to get to know you, then he's not really interested in knowing you. For whatever reason, that it usually has to do with looks or how your body or something, because that's what people are attracted to. Nobody says, "Oh, I like her. She has a book in her hand," or "I like him because he's got a nice tie on. I'm attracted to him because his shoes are nice." Nobody really says that. Nobody does that. Nobody that's not. So if you say you don't look at the person, looks aren't everything. Well, in this day and age, it's darn real close. If you don't meet a certain criteria, then you're not in the league. And some women can overcome that because they have so much confidence in, or they were raised by strong women, or they were they were taught that they have so much confidence that you can't tell them nothing. They are who they are. They are somebody. They are capable of anything that anybody else can do, and they're not going to let you tear them down or tell them any other way. But you do get women who have, for whatever reason, gone through whatever and feel that I have to take what I can get, and that's where you get these combustible relationships. They're toxic. There's nothing good about them. The only thing that you both have in common is being intimate. And I don't really understand the. I was dating this guy. We were going to get married. We were together for 10 years. Uh, Rest in peace. But some of his logic didn't make sense to me, and and it was probably because we no, it was because neither one of us took the time to get to know one another and our goals in life. He was a very nice person. He treated me well, but he had demons, and I wasn't. It was okay at first until they started manifesting more. Some more came out. It was just like, I can't. This is just the last straw. But when I first started dating him, or no, I take that back. When we moved in together, um, his one of his requests. Now he didn't have many, but one of his things was that we would be intimate every day, well, every night or whatever. And in my mind, I was like, because who maybe some people I don't, but because I'm trying to be in a relationship with this person, I said I can try. I didn't know that meant we would be in a heated argument and not speak the whole day. And then, but once the lights go out, I don't want you bothering me if I'm mad at you. It just doesn't. It's not. There shouldn't be a rule. There's not a rule to a relationship. Like that's just selfish. So. Needless to say, that didn't last long. You can't put rules and stipulations in things that are just ridiculous. Yeah, some people, maybe some it works for some people. I don't know, but it didn't work in my case. But just overall, if you just look at all the things that are going on in the world, all the things on social media, all the things in your neighborhood, your community or whatever. The it's saddening. It's you wish that some of these kids could understand that you don't have to carry a weapon that can possibly end someone's life. You can use your fist. Nobody wants to take a chance of um, taking a loss or being beat up or whatever. Nobody, there's no, everyone has to stay on top. Everyone needs to be on top. Everyone wants to have a name. Everyone wants to be looked at. Everyone wants to be admired. Everybody wants to have people talk about them and like they're a legend and all. So they do and say whatever they have to make that happen. And it's sad because how are you really, you have to live somebody else every day. You have to be someone else every day of your life. You might come out, you might be on YouTube and you can speak eloquently. You have the words to say to people. You have good conversation. And that's how you look on YouTube, and people admire you and listen, think put you at high regards. But when you turn that phone off, you're somebody else. You're not so confident, or you have issues in your life that you can't overcome, or you are suffering with some kind of something. And so every day you have to forget you and become someone else, because it makes you feel good that just, because people can perpetrate whoever they want to be on a social media app, because nobody is really gonna know, not really, and people aren't really trying to visit or meet up with each other unless somebody sparks up a relationship and it seems to be going well and they might want to meet that person or whatever. So you can pretend and put away all your the things that really go on in your life, or the secrets that you really have, or whatever, to yourself, and be someone else on YouTube, and have everyone think you're the greatest person, and you're the smartest person, and you're the kindest person, and and you're nice looking, and people just, and that has to be a sad existence, because I know that when people say real life, there's a debate about real life on YouTube. This is your real life because you're bringing your life to YouTube. This is not a real life because you don't know these people and blah, 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 blah. But I'm just going to say, out in public, you don't get that kind of camaraderie or respect or feeling. People don't even look at you. You can walk down the street and not even be noticed, or nothing you say gets anybody's attention, or you just feel alone in this big world. And that's sad, because that can put you in a position where you're blending both worlds, and you're confusing. You're not really sure how what are you doing with your life, and how are you acting, what's going to affect your life and what's not, and you can get caught up in a lot of things, and you just don't know. We really do not know what people have to go through in their personal lives. We don't know what they suffer with. We don't know how they're being treated. We don't know anything. So I wouldn't want to be the one to cause them any harm, because maybe your words were the last words that they heard before they said they're tired and they're going to end it all. I would never want to have that feeling. I would never want to. And so, since I don't want anyone to belittle me as far as making me feel so unworthy that I would want to end it, I wouldn't treat anyone how I wouldn't want to be treated. I just don't. There are a lot of people in this world who think like I do. I know I've met them. I know some, and this world is too big of a place for there not to be. And they might be a rare, like a dinosaur, a fossil or whatever. But one thing is that no one can change them. That's not something that you learn to be. Try to be, or you teach yourself to be. That's how you are. I can remember being a little kid and taking up for kids that are being picked on, or whatever. I can remember being in school, and there was a guy that used to sit next to me. He was a black guy, and the teacher asked him a question. I don't remember, long ago, and he said something, And the whole class laughed at him, and I could tell that, that bothered him. So I said something to counter what he said that made them laugh at the teacher. And he leaned over to me, and he thanked me. And it wasn't really, it's just something that it wasn't like, I was trying to be smart or, be just, maybe the teacher needed to know that, you need to be more, and maybe he didn't mean to make the class laugh. I don't know. But that's not something that you teach yourself to do. That's just in you. And if it's in you, it's hard to get out of you. You can be beaten down, and life can beat you down and make you change. But once God has you locked in, and he has shown you there's no man, no best friend, not even your parents, nobody in your family that loves you like God, that will be there for you like God. People will turn their backs on you. People will talk about you. People will hurt you, spread rumors. They'll make up stuff to hurt you. And the only one who loves you truly and is always going to love you and always going to want you to be okay and always going to protect you is God. So I rather give my all to him, try to do what he's asking me to do, than to pretend and try to make somebody else smile or happy that doesn't even really care about me, doesn't care if I live or die, doesn't give a darn about my safety, doesn't care if I have food, or doesn't care anything about me. That just doesn't fall in the category of making any sense. I can understand when people, what I really pray is, because I really talked to God. And I had met this pastor. He was a pastor of our church. He was new. He was like, this was his first job. And we clashed when we first met, but as we got to know each other, we understood we clashed because we were both alike, just the same. I believe in miracles so tough that I just ask God for things that I just, please show these people that you're real. Make somebody be able to understand, just do something that nobody can say, well, that was a trick, or that was a one-time thing. That you can show people that you are real and you still do miracles. And his story was, we had a church, and there was Spanish people who were the same denomination, but they didn't have a church. And so we would let them come over and use the church that we were having. And the pastor said he used to pray and ask God that somehow he could understand Spanish, so that we didn't have this language barrier. And I understood what he was saying, because I know he could do that. People don't have, he's just asking you to have faith as small as a mustard seed. But once he continuously shows you over and over and over again, you are just starting to say, God, would you please do it? You don't say, I don't know if this is asking too much. I don't know if whatever. You just say, God, please make it happen. Please make somebody understand. Please let somebody know and feel how I feel serving you. Let them know it's not a burden. It's not boring. It's not you're not a pauper. You're not living badly, or you're not, there's nothing that's going to cause you harm. It's just basically giving you a life, giving you real life, where God allows you not to be obsessed with worldly things or be obsessed with anything. overly obsessed with anything, that you don't fall in the trap of having to do things to get, what you're trying to get. It makes you have a peace inside that no one can understand. It makes you wake up every morning ready to take on the day. Asking, wondering what adventure or what new thing God is going to show you or bring you through or whatever. So what I can say is I'm not ashamed to be serving the Lord. Not at all. I don't care what people say. People sometimes might say you're crazy, because it's okay to say you believe in God and read the Bible, but when you really say you believe in God, when you act like you believe in God, then you're crazy. God doesn't talk to you. Well, I didn't say I hear his voice. I don't say we sit and have a conversation. I feel his presence. I make every decision based on a prayer. God, this is what I have to do. I am putting it in your hands, and I ask that you give me the understanding and what decision I need to make. And he has never failed me, ever. So when there's a new problem arise, I don't have to sit around and say, what am I going to do? I can't do, I don't have to stress out. I just pray. Because God's going to do what he did the last time. Now, this time it might not work fully. He does what's best for me, but he's going to bring me through. And that's all that, I can ask for living here in this evil place that is a dog eat dog, rich versus poor, white versus black, just every obstacle you can think of that people have to maneuver through every single day. And some people maneuver through it every day, just try to start again the next day. Some people don't get through it that day. You just don't know. So if you want to at least feel a little freedom from being a grown up, from being an adult, from being bogged down with everything, because once you become an adult, your life has made a drag. You have to make sure that everything is together, or you're not going to make it. So it's a lot easier knowing that you have a Savior, that you have a God who wants you to be happy, who wants you to be comfortable, who doesn't want to see harm come to you, who will protect you and who will answer your prayers, so that you don't have to raise your blood pressure, have stress, possibly depression. And when I'm saying that, because I have been diagnosed with depression and other things when I wasn't serving the Lord. And so what I find now is, if you're bad, how to change some of the things that you think about or do to help with that. Like I said, if you're putting whatever you're putting into your mind, into your body, the most is what you're going to evaporate, what you're going to live. So if I'm going to sit up and watch movies that constantly, horror movies, people being unalived, and I just keep taking that, and that's what I'm going to dream of, that's what's going to come up in my subconscious, that's just, and I can't rest. If I go to sleep listening to waterfall or rain, or listening to someone reading the Bible or reading a nice story, it's going to make me calm and think of nice things and let my brain relax and let it get, because it usually you get ailments because your body doesn't get a chance to rejuvenate from the day before. So if your brain is constantly going, if your mind is constantly going, if you ate late and it's in your stomach and that's constantly your body doesn't have time to rest. And so on top of getting up the next morning and have to deal with the day, you still have yesterday's things going on. So it needs time to rest. And the only peace that you can ever find is finding God. That's the only peace that I couldn't run, hide, I couldn't drink it away, I couldn't anything. And when you finally realize that God is the only one who can make it go away, that's where you go and that's where you stay. I would never want to go backwards ever again. I would never want to be in that position or whatever I had going on that I thought I had it going on. I was young. I had my own house. I had a good job. I had 2 cars at one time. I was popping. But I was not happy, and things just didn't line up for me until I let God come in. And he will come into your life. Like I said, always, he's waiting for you. We shut the door on him. He is still on the other side of the door asking to come in. You know how if we slam the door on one of our friends, we're not friends no more. They're not going to stay at the door and knock and say, let me in, let me in, let me in, I'm sorry, or let me. No, they're not. But God is not going to just leave you. He knows what you're going through and why you're doing what you're doing. He's just waiting for you to realize that there is no hope without him. So don't be ashamed of something that's good and pure and that you need in your life. The shame comes from rejecting it and doing what you know is wrong and knowing the outcome. That's where the shame should be. I believe everyone has an opportunity to change for the better. If you don't change or don't want to, that's because you don't want to. I believe there's people here that want to be evil. I think there's people here that know that they're not going to heaven because they already sold their soul to the devil. I believe evil people I believe all that. I believe all that. I don't think there's no myth. I believe all the rituals and the things that we're hearing, and I believe all of it. Because the devil will go to no ends to get your soul. And then he recruits you to go after other people. And if you fall victim, your only choice is to stay and take on the little luxuries here on earth and have a name, or have people talking about you because that's what good things, and but lose your soul at the end. Or you can pray to God and ask him to turn it around from you, because he still, the devil still is not as powerful as God. That's why he wanted to be. That's why he was kicked out of heaven. He's still not. He has powers over you, but he doesn't have power over God. So that's why God is the only thing that you can have to protect you from the evil and from him and from his soldiers. So don't be ashamed. Don't let people laugh at you because you quote Bible scriptures or because you try to make good out of bad. That's not where the shame should be. I hope people just have peace, that God gives you peace, and that he gives you peace of mind, that he brings whatever that is bothering you or whatever you're suffering with, that he brings it to an end, so that you can come out of it and realize that your life means nothing if God's not in it. I don't know how. That's the only way I can put it. You're if you don't have him, then you may think that you're doing it all alone, and you made a name for yourself, because that's what I made a name for myself, and I did this and I did that. But all that stuff will be lost. Anything that God has for you, you'll always have. You'll never lose it. And as time is winding down, because the clock is always ticking, it seems like time is going faster and faster, and we're running out. I mean, it's just there's no point. You might not wake up tomorrow. You might not make it through today. You just don't know. You just have to consciously ask God to be with you every day. Show you how to serve him if you don't know him. Show you how to pray if you don't feel you know how to pray, or what to do. He's willing to do that. So that's all I have for today. I was trying to keep it short, but I guess when I start talking, I don't stop talking. I hope everyone has a blessed week, and stay safe. Make someone smile. Be kind to somebody. Love yourself, and be strong. Until next time.